Alright, race fans, we're here again. Big Trev coming at you with a special guest today. This is my son Joseph, he's 6 months old. He's kind of quite the race fan himself. I hold him up to the TV during the races and he'll watch, but especially when you crank it up. But he's going to be my little sidekick today, so we'll see how good this goes. I got my little notes here. I'm not going to say everything, of course, off the notes because you'll see that in captions later on. So we are going to analyze the Axalta presents the Pocono 400 from Pocono, Pennsylvania. Kyle Busch started on the pole, and he led the race high of 100 laps. Stage 1 was Kyle Busch, Stage 2 Kyle Larson. So we had two different stage winners there, and then Ryan Blaney topped it off for the Wood Brothers' 99th victory. And I'll tell you what, that says a lot because, you know, that really impressed me that he was able to hold off a fast-charging Kevin Harvick at the end there. And it was pretty close. I think if Harvick could have had another shot at him, maybe a green-white checkered restart, I think Harvick could have had him. But, you know, those two Fords battled it out there, and Toyota shut out again for a points-paying victory. Is that so? Not Toyota, but Joe Gibbs Racing shut out again. And I think that's probably going on the longest streak for Joe Gibbs Racing as a whole organization. And here, let's maybe we'll move a little bit. Yeah. So I'll tell you, Pocono was kind of boring. We had some green flag pit stops. Alright, so we had green flag pit stops multiple times. It was about every 40 laps or so they had to pit. And that's where the strategy comes to the crew guys, because you can pit at Pocono and not lose a lap. And you can't really do that anywhere else. You can do that at a road course, of course, if you're in the top half of the field, say Sonoma. You can get away with it there. You can get away with it at Watkins Glen, but usually you can't get away with pitting under green and not losing a lap. And that's really good, because if the caution comes out after these guys make their pit stops, then they're good to go. So I did notice that in the race on Saturday, it came into play where with 3 laps to go on the stage, some guys were pitting, and then that way they'd set them up for a good stage or for the second stage and that kind of stuff. But I don't really see that play out into effect during Sunday's race. But we had a red flag for a while. There was Jimmy Johnson and Jamie McMurray had brake problems at lap 95, and that was Jimmy Johnson hit the wall hard, and so did McMurray. McMurray's car started on fire, and he had no brakes, so he was coasting to his stop, and right as his car stopped, he jumped out, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody come out of their car that fast before. So, but overall, it was a good race. Not really one for Pocono. I'd rather see a little bit more, less green, I guess you could say. Not necessarily want to see the race follow behind the pace car either, but you need a balance of cautions to shake up the tire strategies and that kind of stuff. You don't want to see fuel mileage races like we had at Charlotte. Of course, we've got 2 first-time winners now, but still, it's in Blaney's aspect, his win didn't come because of fuel mileage. So, but Blaney did good. He held off a fast-charging Kevin Harvick, and that was just a really, really good, exciting final 5 laps or so. But so I'm looking forward to Michigan to a point, and Michigan's kind of the same thing as Auto Club Speedway, where you have typically a lot of green flag racing, a lot of green flag pit stops, and the race goes by pretty quick. But it's I'm looking really forward to Sonoma, because we'll see if AJ Allmendinger can do something there and pull off a couple, stage win, and maybe even end up in victory circle there. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens coming to summer. We only got 2 more races left, and that's gonna cap off the Fox season, and then NBC takes over, and we'll see how they do. And I'm looking forward to it a little bit. We kind of need a fresh look to these races and the broadcast and the broadcast crew, and we don't need so many accidents missed. I mean, when McMurray crashed, they never actually totally figured out what happened, and that's more times than I can count this season have the commentators been stumped because of stuff that the production crew is missing, and it's inexcusable. We can't have racing being broadcast and stuff missed over and over and over and over and over. It gets old, and it's just a severe annoyance to the fans. And I'm probably not the only one that notices that the ticker screws up and stays in one spot, and then all of a sudden they decide to flip through the rest of it, and then it freezes up again. And that ticker thing, it's in its 4th year, and I think it's in its final year. Ditch the ticker. Get rid of it. It takes up too much room. It's a style from the 90s. Get rid of it. Fans are tickered off. So get rid of it. Change to something else, a scrolling bar, something else that's not so just old-fashioned looking, ugly blue color, and it just takes up too much room on the screen, and it has no race information if there's penalties on pit road or anything like that. So I say ditch the ticker and get something more modern looking, because the graphics departments are really lacking there, I think. But anyway, I'm not going to babble on anymore about that. Look forward to Michigan, and more so Sonoma, and we'll see you next week.